I love doing these team calls. So tonight, well, first of all, for anyone who's new, I'm Amy Welch. You're going to see me a lot, if you haven't already, on the team page. I've been with Plexus now, oh my goodness, 5.5 years, and I just absolutely love it. But, I realized 5 years ago, I didn't want a Plexus business. I didn't want to share Plexus. I didn't know anything about Plexus. I didn't know anything about network marketing. I didn't know anything about gut health, supplements, none of the things. So if I can be successful in this, so can anyone else. So tonight I thought, especially because we have so many new people that are sharing, they're wondering if they want a business. We have people that are like all in. We have people posting. I want to do a quick team call on how to talk about Plexus, but also how to follow up, overcome some objections, and then close with compassion. So I put together a little PowerPoint. It's mainly to keep myself on track because I could talk forever. The cool thing though about Plexus success, and even just network marketing in general, but the way our company is set up, it's just long-term. We like to call it legacy success. It's not kind of a flash in the pan or overnight, but it's that legacy that affects generations. But the cool thing about it is it's just a skill, right? Network marketing is just a skill, which means anyone can learn it. You just have to become a student of network marketing. And the cool thing about our business and our team is you get to set your pace. You get to decide. You can walk, you can jog, or you can run. I'll tell you, back when I joined in 2015, I was like anti all of the things. Then I decided maybe I'll dip my toe in, maybe I'll walk a little bit. And then once I saw the vision and the potential, I was all in and I was running. And we meet you where anyone is at. So let's talk quickly though, really just about how to talk about Plexus. I'm going to share my screen. So just so you guys know, when I share my screen, I cannot see chats coming in. But keep chatting. There's plenty of people on the call that will answer your questions, and then I can always go back at the end and we can have a little bit of Q&A if we have time for it, okay? So let me change the little box here for the recording. Okay, so how to talk about Plexus. So often we get so nervous when we share Plexus, don't we? I don't know about you guys, but when I made my first Plexus post, I thought I was going to vomit. And then I shut my laptop and I walked away for the rest of the day. And all I did was post a picture of the pink drink and say something like, I can't believe I've never tried this before because I'm feeling really good. And like, that was it. But I was so nervous. Then when people were asking, I got even more nervous because I didn't know what to say, right? I didn't know how to talk about Plexus. Or if they asked me, I would vomit Plexus all over them. Have you guys vomited Plexus where you just want to like tell them all of the things? So tonight we're going to talk about how to talk about it first before we can get into overcoming some objections and how to close. The first thing I want you guys to realize though is let's not overthink it, right? Be real, be passionate about Plexus, but how do you talk to people about anything? Okay, Plexus is no different than something you're using that you bought on Amazon, right? I think, we kind of build it up in our mind that because all of a sudden we're sharing it and we might actually get a paycheck for it, we freak ourselves out. When really you're just having a conversation with a friend about something you're using. And in the beginning, or even now, you don't have to say a whole lot at all. And I'll give you an example. If you recommend a restaurant to somebody and you're like, oh my goodness, girlfriend, you have got to go down to that new Mexican place, Rita's. It is amazing. They have the best margaritas and their fajitas, like you can split them for 2 people on one order. It is so good, you have to go. Does your friend expect you to know the chef, where the chef was educated, what their health department rating is, everything on their menu, where they buy their food, where they source their food? If they've passed their inspections? No, they just want to know that you love their food or you love their service because they trust you and they get your passion across when you share that restaurant with them. It's the same with Plexus, right? You don't have to know all the things to just tell someone how excited you are that you started this little pink drink, or that you're taking this probiotic and you can finally notice a difference in how you feel, right? So don't assume that you have to know all of these things. You just want to share what it's done for you in the short amount of time, long amount of time, or you can even share why you're excited to get started. I think we have some people on the call who they already have customers and ambassadors before they even have their welcome pack, just because they're so excited to get started and they're telling their friends about it, right? So you do not have to know anything, and that's okay to say that too. So I love three-way chat. So let's say you post on Facebook or you're talking about it and somebody was like, oh, well, tell me about it. Then you're like, what is Plexus? Oh my goodness, it's a gut health company. We have all these products. They're plant-based. They're all natural, blah, blah. And you vomit or you freeze up and you don't know what to say. So I want you to know it is okay to tell people, you know what? I'm new. I don't know a lot about it. I just know that it's going to help me with my gut health issues, or they said it's probably going to help me with my migraines, or I'm hoping to lose 20 pounds, like whatever it is, and say, but my friend Amy knows a lot about it. She's the one who helped me find the right product for me. I'm going to add her to a message, and then you just add them to a three-way chat. So in the beginning, when I was sharing Plexus, I used my sponsor for everything. I bet I messaged her, and she was a stranger. I didn't actually know Sarah. I bet I messaged her, 100 times a day. I would say, like, how do you answer this? Or what does this mean? Okay, this person wants this. And I would screenshot conversations to her. She would tell me how to answer or how to reply, and I would just do that. And then I got to where I would put those people just in a three-way message and let her do it so I could learn as I was sharing. So I want you guys to know it's okay to do that. You do not have to know everything about Plexus to share it, and it's totally okay to tell people. Your friends do not expect you to be an expert, right? Just like when you shared that restaurant, they don't expect you to know all the things. It's the same with Plexus. So I don't want you, though, to project your own fears onto them, right? Because we all have fears when it comes to sharing, when it comes to starting this business, or really putting yourself out there and being vulnerable. When I first started sharing Plexus, I was, in corporate America, and I was still kind of skeptical about the industry. So I blocked all of my coworkers from any of my Plexus posts because I wasn't confident enough in the industry to say I was a network marketer. And then I just realized, you know what? I could help them too. They suffer with health issues just like everybody else. So eventually I unblock them. But it's okay to have those fears. We just don't want to project it onto the people we're talking to, right? And the biggest one is you're afraid someone is going to think you're selling Plexus. Well, guess what, y'all? We are selling Plexus, right? Like, that's what we do. We share something that might help them. We don't typically use the word sell because we don't have quotas and sales figures and reports and all that. We really just share that these products may help someone and let them decide if it's up to them. But so many times someone will ask us a question. They'll say, oh, do you sell Plexus? Or, oh, do you have a website? And we freak out. We're like, oh my goodness, I'll get these messages, or we'll see them in the team thread. Like, oh, so-and-so asked if I sell Plexus. What should I say? Well, tell them you do, because that probably means they want to buy it, right? And don't project other fears like, oh man, someone may think it's too expensive, or someone may not want to do it, or they're going to think I'm bugging them. They're going to think I'm salesy. Guys, don't project your fears onto them, because I promise you they are not thinking that. And the cool thing about our business versus any other network marketing that I have heard of, because now that I've been in the industry for 5 years, I hear stories. I'm friends with people in other companies. And we are not in Plexus in the convincing business, right? That's why we don't have quotas. We're not running hard and fast at the end of every month trying to convince somebody to get their order in. That's not what we do. We share what they can do. We are bold and we are passionate in that sharing, but ultimately it's up to that person, right? So the other thing when it comes to talking about Plexus is practice. Practice, practice, practice. You are going to fumble. You are going to vomit Plexus. You are going to say something that you're going to be like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that. Or you're going to be so crazy over the top passionate that someone's going to be like, whoa, that's a little too much for me, right? It's going to happen. We're all new, and that's okay. But practice, practice. I practiced in the shower. That's where I do my best thinking. And so I would practice what I would say if somebody asked me what Plexus was, or if somebody said, oh, I'm not sure if it's for me, or if somebody said, well, how could it help my thyroid? I would practice those things in the shower, so then eventually I could get to where I could answer questions and I wouldn't have to send my sponsor a message all of the time. But in the beginning, if you're on this call and you're new, please use us, right? Like, that's what we want. We want to help you be successful. And those of us that have been doing this for a while, we love to talk about Plexus. Like, I love to talk about gut health and what these products can do and the science and all of the things. So lean on us. But in the beginning, do not think you have to know a lot to talk about Plexus, okay? So let's say you're talking about Plexus and you mention it once, and then, somebody was like, okay, sounds great, but they don't do anything. Well, listen, the fortune is in the follow-up. I'm sure you've heard that. And it's because we're all human, right? Look at those sales statistics, guys. Here's what I want you to know, okay? 48% of people never follow up with a person. They mention it one time, they never follow up. Almost half of everyone. But 80% of all sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact, right? So let's say, someone asks about Plexus, you share the information, maybe they ask more questions, you answer them, and then nothing. And then you just assume they don't want Plexus. And then you write them off. Guys, that is not what we want to do, because people are human, okay? I had a friend the other day. She works for a network marketing company that sells wine, sells that clean wine. And I needed to stock our fridge because, it's a new house. I don't have a lot of wine. And so I told her I was going to place an order. I wanted to help her out. She had a goal to make for her business. I was like, oh, perfect timing. I'll order. And I didn't. And then like 4 or 5 days go by, and she sent me a message. She's like, hey, are you still going to order? I'm like, oh, shoot. Yes. Thanks for reminding me. Yes, I'm going to. I want the wine. I want to help you. Yes. Guess what? 4 more days went by. Guys, I just got busy. And had she not been following up with me, I wouldn't have been able to get my order in. I would have missed the sale. I wouldn't have had wine when we had, people over for the weekend. And so I just want you to know that you are not bothering people. You are following up because that's what people need. And there are different steps to follow up that I want to make sure you guys know, right? Because you're not bothering people. You want to keep it simple. And if you feel that you're being salesy, well, then maybe we need to look at what you are saying, maybe some of your mindset. You might be projecting the fear of being salesy, so then you totally come across salesy, right? So I want you to keep it simple, and I don't want you to give them a lot of stuff to read. It's overwhelming, right? I do not want you guys to send somebody like a 47-page document on the science of ProBio 5, okay? They're not going to read it. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it like a conversation. I love to use voice messages. If Jennifer Urick is on the call tonight, I got to give her a shout out because she sent her first follow-up voice message tonight. Here is why I love voice messages. People can hear your compassion, your heart, your sincerity, your realness, okay? When you send a text or a message that is typed, people project their own bias onto that. It happens all the time, not just in Plexus. It happened when I worked in an office and we would send emails. I would send a completely benign email, and then somebody would project feelings onto that email that I did not express, right? It's their own bias. And you eliminate that when you do follow-ups with voice messages, okay? The other thing is, oftentimes, guys, when people ask you questions about Plexus, they don't actually know what they should be asking. And it's up to us to kind of lead that conversation. Let me tell you what I mean. You post about Plexus, somebody messages you and says, how much is it? Guys, that is not the question they should be asking, right? They should be asking, what can it do for me? That's what they should be asking. So it's up to us to bring that conversation around and say, okay, listen, I can't really tell you price because we have so many products. I got to know what you want Plexus to do for you first. Then I can recommend a product. Then we can talk price, right? So keep it simple, a real conversation like you would have with anyone about anything. And you kind of have to get this mindset right that, you know what? If people buy, if people don't, it's okay. Detach from the outcome and have real compassionate conversations, because your ultimate goal is not to get their order. Your ultimate goal is to help them feel better, right? Sometimes they're not ready, and we don't want them if they're not ready. We don't want people to order Plexus and then quit in 3 days because they really weren't ready to be consistent, or they really weren't ready to make some health changes, right? So I got a 5-step process to follow up. I have used it for 5 years. It's so simple. And it's really, when I say 5 steps, it's more of a 5-phase back and forth conversation, okay? So people ask about Plexus, they'll message me. I had someone today, so I posted about Adelaide not needing breathing treatments or being sick anymore. And someone commented and said, oh my goodness, like tell me more about this, okay? So instead of me just sending a huge long message with everything about the mega kids microbiome and about the kids X factor and all the ways to purchase and just inundating her with information, I just sent her a message, and it was 2 sentences, basically 3 sentences. And I said, hey girlfriend, I'm excited to share with you this kids line that Plexus has that really helped Adelaide. I really think it can help your kiddo because you mentioned breathing treatments too. Tell me more about your kiddo and their issues. See what I did? I want them to tell me what they want out of Plexus, because that comes with us being honest and transparent. I don't even really want to sell her the kids vitamin until I know for sure that that's going to help her kiddo, right? So then she messages back and she tells me a little bit about it. And then step 2 is I ask what their health goal would be for Plexus, right? So she told me her kiddo's issue, but then I want to know, like, okay, well, what exactly do you want Plexus to do? Because I want them to have realistic expectations, right? It's like the people who are like, oh man, I want Plexus because I want to lose weight. Oh, girlfriend, I can help you lose weight on Plexus. How much weight do you want to lose? What's your goal? What's your goal with Plexus? I'm going to lose 20 pounds in a week because I'm going on vacation. Breaks, like that's not actually going to work, right? But if you don't ask that question and then you don't know, and then they order Plexus and then they're like, oh man, yeah, I didn't lose 20 pounds in a week and it didn't work for me, right? So step 2 in that process of follow-up is ask what their health goals are. And that could be a little back and forth, a little chit chat, tell me more about it. Not everyone is going to disclose things either. And that's okay. Sometimes we find out later. Just a couple weeks ago, I've been sharing this story a lot just because it just shows the power of doing a 3-way message for that kind of third-party validation, and how people will tell a stranger something before they will tell you. We've had people, I've been in 3-way messages with people I don't know, and they've disclosed things to me that they didn't originally tell their sponsor. Things like they had migraines, or they don't have a thyroid, or, major things. So talk about their health goals. And then the third thing in your follow-up is you want to make a product recommendation, right? We don't ever want to send someone to our website without having this conversation first. And I'll use my story as an example of why we don't want to do that. When I first was curious about Plexus, I was so skeptical. I was rude about it. Like, I was one of those people, when you think of your absolute worst potential who was rude and skeptical and kind of mean, guys, that was me. And so when I told Sarah Taylor, who I didn't know, she was a stranger on the internet, I said, send me your website. She told me no, right? She wouldn't. And I'm so glad she didn't, because here's what would have happened. One of 2 things. I would have clicked on the website. I would have gotten completely overwhelmed because there's a lot of products. And back then there were only 10. Now we have like 23. And I never would have messaged her back again. Or I would have clicked on it. I would have looked at this thing called Slim and like accelerator and some vitamins, and I would have thought, that's not for me, because I was a supplement snob who thought I was healthy, even though I was suffering from thyroid disease. So you want to make a product recommendation first. You want to build value and give them some guidance and direction on what they really want to look at when they do eventually go to the website, right? So I always make a product recommendation and I make it personal to them, guys. People are out for themselves. It's human nature. They don't care that we have the only methylated bioavailable kids vitamin on the market. They don't care that our stuff is clinically proven. They don't care about any of the science behind it. What they care about is how can it help them, right? So make that product recommendation. So I recommended to this girl, okay, yes, the kids drink, but especially the kids vitamin is going to get that dysbiosis that your kiddo more than likely has in their gut for the allergies and the asthma and the breathing treatments, right? That there is that connection. And I really think this is going to make a difference. It's going to help boost their immunity. He's going to feel better. He's not going to hopefully catch colds all the time, right? I'm telling her things that could happen, okay? Then the next step in follow-up is I encourage them to ask questions about the recommendation I just made, right? Sometimes we freeze up when people ask questions, and that's because we project our fears onto them. Like if somebody asks, well, how much is it? We're like, oh, they're going to think it's too expensive. I don't know what to say. Or, oh, well, why is this on the label? Oh, they don't like that ingredient. Why are they asking, right? We always assume the negative. I want people to ask questions because I want them to be comfortable with what they're buying. And so I'll say, what do you think? I'll wait. Here's my recommendation. They usually then reply back something like, sounds great. Tell me more. What is that exactly? And then I'll say, well, what do you think of that? Does that sound like something you are willing to do? Okay. Especially when it comes to some of the bigger combos. Like if I recommend the Renew You combo, which is the triplex and the weight loss and the lean shakes, I will ask them, like, how does that sound to you? Are you someone who likes to do shakes? Because listen, I don't want them buying lean if I find out later they hate doing shakes, right? So ask them to encourage them to ask questions or get their feedback on the recommendation, okay? Then once they say, yeah, that sounds great, here's what I love. Then you follow up and you give them options for how to purchase. And you give the option that sounds best for them, okay? Now, I never recommend retail for anybody. It's crazy. Like, it's way too expensive. I mean, I would not buy retail right now, like at all. It's crazy. So I will tell them, look, there's a couple ways to purchase because you're getting a really big combo. It makes more sense for you to buy as an ambassador, pay the $9.95 fee, and then you're going to get discounts on your orders and you're going to get perks on your orders. How does that sound to you? Okay. And if they come back and say, I don't know, or I'm not sure I want to start with a big combo. Okay, that's fine. We have another option. If you just want to try a product, if you just want one or maybe two, then it's actually not worth it for you to be an ambassador because that's like kind of a special deal. You can be a customer. Like we have great perks for our preferred customers. And then if you decide you're loving it and you're ordering those $100 combos every month, or you ever want to share this business, you can totally upgrade later as an ambassador. How does that sound? See what I'm doing? I'm giving them the options, but I'm telling them what I think their best option is, right? Because I know whether it's a customer or whether it's an ambassador. And then you give them those options and you ask them what sounds best for them, okay? So when you're doing this follow-up though, I don't want you to pull back when they have an objection. I want you to be honest yet loving, right? Because you have to detach from the outcome. Again, we're not in it to hurry up and get a sale. We're in it to meet these people where they're at and give them the information they need to make a decision. Hopefully that decision is yes, they're ready to get started and get on the crazy Plexus train with all of us and start feeling better. But it's our job just to get them to that decision. Now, oftentimes that conversation happens over time. It may not happen within a 10-minute span, right? It may happen over several days. Sometimes it takes weeks for follow-up. And then you can always follow up with non-Plexus things, especially guys, when you first start sharing, these are your friends and your family most likely, or maybe even, acquaintances, in a mom's group or coworkers or anything like that. So don't always constantly only be following up about Plexus, because then, and I've done that. Like, I'm like, oh, I got to follow up about Plexus. Oh. And then I realize, oh man, I'm a terrible friend. I haven't asked them how they're coping with quarantine, or I haven't asked them how their kids are doing. Like, I haven't asked them anything that doesn't have to do with Plexus. Okay. Because I'm the crazy Plexus lady, it doesn't mean they are also thinking about Plexus all the time. So sometimes follow up with people who are curious, people who need Plexus, people who want Plexus, people who you want to be on your Plexus team. Sometimes follow up is just being a friend, and it doesn't have anything to do with Plexus, okay? Now, once you've done those 5 steps, though, to follow up, then it's time to close. You can't stay and follow up forever, right? People either need to order or they don't, okay? You can't stay in the relationship building phase. You can't stay in the follow-up phase forever. You have to learn how to close. And I don't know why I don't like the term how to close. It makes it sound so impersonal. Maybe it's because like closing on a house is so yucky and there's like a billion papers you have to sign. But for lack of a better word, that's what I'm going to call it until somebody comes up with something better. We can call it something else. But right now it's how to close. And really, all it is, it's how to get people to make a decision. Okay, that's what we want. We're going to detach from the outcome. We're going to be okay if someone says no. That's the first thing you have to do when you're sharing Plexus. You have to be okay with no. Okay, people are going to tell you no. It's okay. It's not a personal attack on you. Doesn't mean they hate you. Doesn't mean they think you're crazy. No just means not now. No doesn't even mean forever, right? Think of the waitress at a restaurant, okay? You guys some of you have heard this, but we have a lot of new people on. Think of the waitress at a restaurant. She goes around and asks this table of 4 if anybody wants coffee. They all say no. Does she like go hide in the back and cry and quit her job and like never ask anyone for coffee again? No. She just moves on to the next table, and then eventually she comes back to that original table and asks them now if they want coffee. They may have changed their mind. They might be ready for coffee now, right? The same thing with Plexus. The sooner you get okay with no and you detach from that outcome and you do look at this like a business, like I love my friends and family. I am passionate about getting all of them on Plexus, but I have to detach from the outcome. They may not be ready. They might jump in and then quit. They might say yes, whatever. You have to detach from it and just fall in love with the process of sharing and being passionate. And eventually people are gonna catch on, and they're gonna want to do this with you. So how to close, you do the 5-step follow-up, right? Let's say you've made a recommendation. They're like, it sounds great. You told them you should be a customer. They're like, yes, that's what I want to do. You've sent them your website, right? That's when you send the website. I don't send the website until I know when they click on it, we've already talked about the value the products bring to them, what the product's going to do for them, which specific products they need to look at, how to order. Then I'll send my website. And sometimes I'll tell them, because sometimes now that we have so many products, people can have a couple of options on combos. I'll say, look, I really recommend the triplex, but you can get started on the weight loss. So here's what I want you to do. You're going to be an ambassador. I want you to go to my website, click enroll, and I want you to look at these 2 different welcome packs. And I'll give them the name and the photos, right? And I'll say, go check these 2 out. Tell me what you think of each, which one you want to go with, okay? But I don't send my website until you've had that conversation, okay? So let's say you've done that. And then it's crickets, right? Well, okay, that's human nature. You heard my story about the wine, right? I got busy, guys. People aren't thinking about hurrying up and ordering their Plexus order. We know the sale ends tomorrow. We know they can save $20. We think that is pretty urgent. Oftentimes people don't care, right? They don't care. Life happens. They're busy. It's not about you. But oftentimes it's because we haven't actually come back to close. We've just followed up. So there's 3 steps to close. That's kind of where the magic happens, right? The first step is you actually have to ask them for a decision, right? You have to ask them. Like, if you don't ask, then nothing's going to happen. Very rarely will somebody come back after you've sent the website and it's been several days. Will people jump back in and be like, oh man, my bad, totally ghosted you, I'm ready to order now? No, that's not, I mean, if it happens, that's great, but that's not how most people are not going to jump right in and say, okay, I'm ready, right? They need our guidance, and they need us to give them the green light to either purchase or give them the green light to tell us no. Sometimes people are just afraid to tell us bad things or negative things, right? And so we want to give them permission. We want to ask for a decision. We want to say, hey, seen to the website. We talked about your order. I know you were so excited to get some relief from those migraines. Are you ready to order today? Or is today a good day for you to get started, right? Or for those of you, I know like Amy Morton loves to sign people up over the phone. Can I call you today? Is today a good day to call you, right? Ask them to make a decision, okay? And then, okay, if they ghost you again, or sometimes they may be like, yes, today's a great day. Or, oh man, not today, right? Sometimes then you have to also ask people or give people permission to tell you no, or say like, what's holding you back, right? You're really excited. We chit-chatted. What's holding you back? Are you ready, right? Do not assume the worst. Oftentimes we assume the worst and we freeze up. We totally freak out, don't we? Yeah, we do. Do not assume the worst, but ask them what's holding them back. And when you detach from that outcome, I'll tell people, I'll say, look, you know, it is not going to make or break my business for you to tell me you can't order right now. Girlfriend, that's fine. I'm sharing this with you because I know you are tired of being a tired mama all the time. I know you're posting that you can't get up off the couch. But if you are not ready, that is okay. You can tell me that. And oftentimes, that will then open the window to what some of their objections are that you want to overcome. So step 2 in the closing process is you have to overcome some objections, right? Sometimes it's just a flat out no. That's okay. Sometimes it's I'll think about it. Sometimes it's not right now or change my mind. But that's when you want to ask them why. Okay? There is nothing wrong with saying, hey, totally understand. Can you let me know why though you decided no? What was the reason? It's totally okay to ask that. You'd ask your friend that who told you they were going to meet you at the movies and then they did. And you'd be like, girlfriend, why didn't you meet me there? Right? Same here. What was the reason? And then oftentimes that then becomes the objection that you learn. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I'm just not ready. Okay, fine. Or oftentimes they'll come back and it's price. They had a friend's cousin's mother's brother's sister's husband have a bad experience, right? Anything like that, you can then overcome or provide more information to them so then they become comfortable making that decision, okay? So the next one is overcome. And oftentimes when it comes to this, I like to do that feel, felt, found method, because when I think back to when someone first shared Plexus with me, I had all of the objections. I had all of the things, right? I didn't have $100 line item in my budget for probiotics. So I had that objection. I thought it was a total scam. I had that objection, right? I thought it was a scheme. I had that objection. I had all of the things. So I'll do the feel, felt, found, which is, you know, like, I totally understand how you feel. I felt that the exact same, like, oh my goodness, I was such a skeptic. I marked on my calendar on day 59 when I was going to return these products because I was convinced they weren't going to work. And I was dead set on getting my money back. But what I found is that once I started them, I actually started to feel better. And Plexus became the last thing I ever really had to try, right? So it's that feel, felt, found method. What you want to do when you're closing, again, we want to close with that compassion, meaning you want to clarify anything that you guys have talked about. Maybe it wasn't clear. Maybe you didn't really listen and you don't really know for sure, or maybe they weren't very forthcoming in what their goals are. but you really just want to connect and listen, and don't be afraid to ask those questions. And then I love being compassionate and really putting it back on them, because like I said, I don't need you to order today, girlfriend. I'm sharing this because I know I can help you with your thyroid. I know it. If you take these products, if you are consistent, I know that in 60 to 90 days, you're going to have some wins. But I also understand if you're not ready to make that commitment right now. And they might say, okay, yeah, you're right. And I'll say, can I follow up with you next month? Does next month sound like maybe you might be a little bit ready? Life might be a little less crazy, right? Or in 2 months or whatever it is. And then you can always ask again for that decision. And sometimes then they still are like, you know what? No, change my mind. That's okay. I then take it away from them. And I'll say, look, I am very passionate about helping people. I get that you're probably not ready. We've talked. You're not replying anymore. Can I take you off of my follow-up list, right? Because you don't want to waste their time. You don't want to waste your time. But often, again, when you take it away from them, then they're like, oh, wait, no, I'm not ghosting you because I don't ever want to order. I'm just not ready. I didn't want to tell you. Ask me again in a few months. So just have those back and forth conversations, just like you would if it was anything else you are talking about. Now, when you're having those conversations, though, I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly because it's 8:38. Let's talk about overcoming objections, right? Because we're all going to have them. They make your stomach hurt when you get them and you're brand new, right? If somebody throws up a price objection, or it's a scam, or do they work, or I tried it before, or I eat healthy and work out, I don't need them, right? Anytime someone throws those up, when we're new, we're like, oh gosh, that kind of hurt. I feel like I might want to vomit. I might puke a little bit. That makes me nervous. And you shut down and you say, okay, and then that's it, right? Guys, objections are totally normal. It's a normal part of the conversation. Everyone is going to get them. All an objection is just someone else's complete and normal skepticism. We want people to be skeptic because we want to be able to show them why they shouldn't be, right? Or it's a lack of knowledge because we have not done a good enough job educating them on what it is. So they just have a lack of knowledge that comes with that objection. When we're talking though about objections, I want you to be bold in your confidence in overcoming them. And when you're new, you may not have that yet. So you want to lean on your sponsor, on our team. I also love this shield of confidence right here on the screen. This is the Plexus shield of confidence. And this is how in the beginning, you can be confident in what you're sharing. So let me back up and share my story real quick. I was terrified to put my name on Plexus, right? My name. And my husband is a scientist. He works, in oil and gas, and he was afraid to put his reputation on it too, because he's like, I'm a professional skeptic. Like, if I say this stuff is going to work, oh man, it better work, right? But we didn't know. We were new. I just knew that I felt good after a couple weeks. That was it. And I saw all these testimonies floating around, but I was still such a skeptic. I thought maybe those people weren't real, right? But that's where this shield of confidence comes in. No matter what, we have a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you can be confident and people can get their money back. It's easy. Guys, I've only had one person in my 5 years return a product. No, two people return. One just totally freaked out. I'm sure somebody said something to them. The other one that returned it rejoined a year later and ranked all the way to senior gold. Okay. Then Plexus updates the scientific research behind the products regularly. It's on our website. It's right there on the main plexusworldwide.com. You can see all of the reference research behind all the ingredients and all of the products. I love how transparent it is. So you can be confident in that when it comes to objections, right? The thousands upon thousands upon thousands of testimonies you see on Facebook, many of you guys doing the posting challenge, high five, by the way. Today you had to go into the wellness lounge and grab a testimony. A lot of people shared testimonies of people that you do not know. The cool thing about our company and our One Plexus culture is we can find those people. One, they're real. Two, if we need to find them, we can. It happened to Amy Morton not too long ago. We had a colitis, I think, or a Crohn's testimony. And we were like, oh man, we need to track that person down. Well, guess what we did? Through the Plexus community, we tracked that person down. She went in a chat with her. Same happened to Christine. Christine posted an after picture of Joyome. One of her friends said, oh, that person, that's tape. It's a totally fake after picture. Well, we tracked that woman down and put her in a message just so you know that all of those testimonies are real. And then just the phenomenal growth of our company. Guys, a network marketing company that is not legit and is not stable and has products that don't work, they do not stay around for 12 years. And if they do stay around for 12 years, they aren't having record sales and record promotions like we are, okay? So that phenomenal growth is something that you can have confidence in when it comes to these objections. And then, guys, your own story. No one can take that away from you. Whether you're just excited to start Plexus because your friend told you it might help you, no one can take that away from you. Or if you have a story that it helped your IBS or your migraines, or you feel better than you did 5 years ago, your truth is also something to be confident in, right? So I want to talk about just some common objections because you're going to get them. And I recommend using your sponsor, using your upline, and this is how you learn and you practice. And you know what? You're probably going to fumble at first when you're talking to somebody, but that's okay, right? So everyone's going to get objections. It's how you handle them. And I want you to be bold in handling them and confident. And if you have to be like, oh man, hang on, I don't know how to answer this, and you need to screenshot it and put it in our team chat and be like, guys, I just got this huge objection, or guys, I'm kind of freaking out. Somebody told me we're a pyramid scheme, right? That's okay. Let us help you answer that, because people can see your hesitation. They can sense your fear or your projections of uncertainty, okay? You can show confidence in not knowing. That's okay. What you don't want to do is kind of freak out and kind of fumble and be like, oh my goodness, yeah, I don't know. I can't. You found that on the internet? Oh man, I don't know. Maybe that's true. I have no idea. You can be confident in saying, oh, no one has asked me that before, but I'm going to ask my friend and I'm going to get back to you on that, right? So be your best self, be confident in what you say. Don't run from it. Don't try to cover it up or walk around it. We want to hit these objections head on, okay? I love them now because I had all of them. So I can relate so well because I know what these people are thinking, okay? So pricing objections, you're gonna get these sometimes. If you're getting them a lot, if you get nothing but pricing objections, it's because you're not doing those 5 follow-up steps. It's because you're not showing them the value in the products first and what the products can do for them, right? They ask about Plexus, you're just sending like the Plexus laundry list of stuff we have and the 3 ways to buy, okay? That is often people who are getting pricing objections, or you're not having those back and forth conversations and asking them once you recommend a big combo, if a combo sounds okay to them. Because for some people, they're not ready to start 3 products, right? They're not ready to do a shake. They maybe just want to try taking a couple capsules, right? So have those conversations because listen, it is not expensive. Plexus is not expensive. Was putting $100 in my budget new and different, and did I have to wiggle? Yeah, right? Okay. But I was, people afford what they want to afford regardless of what their budget looks like. I knew that I could stop buying coffee and caffeine and snacks all the time and like energy drinks because I was so tired. And that right there was enough for me to pay for Plexus. But if you are getting those a lot, you want to look at the conversations you're having, right? Because listen, if it comes down to it, I'm going to get you a $30 bottle of a probiotic. That's not going to give you the exact same results as the full triplex. So we want to be realistic, but anyone can afford Plexus. And then if they really are like, I can't do it this month, that's okay. Here's what I do with the pricing objections, right? I use the Fuel Fat Found. But then if they legit don't have $30 for a probiotic, I get it. 2 things are going to happen in that conversation. I'm going to offer you the business, because if you don't have $30 for a probiotic, you need this Plexus business, right? Even if it's just, you don't have to do it like I do it. Even if it's just sharing with people as you talk to them. You don't have to be on the team calls and make a goal and a rank and all the things, right? But you can make a couple extra $100. So I'm going to talk to you about the business. And then I'm going to talk about, okay, if you want to do this, here over the next few months, do you think you can save like $5 a week? Do you think you could look and see where you're buying like Diet Cokes or Starbucks and think maybe if you skip those, you can save, and then we'll get you on the probiotic? Because I know you really, really want to get your IBS under control, right? And if they're like, yeah, I can do that, say, okay, well then we'll make a plan. Here in 3 months, when you've saved your Starbucks money, I'm going to message you and we're going to get you on that probiotic, right? So do not be afraid of the pricing objection at all. The other one we get sometimes is the pyramid scheme. It can make us defensive. I get it. I thought it was a pyramid scheme. I didn't know anything about network marketing. I didn't know anything about supplements. So don't let it get you defensive. Just I honestly almost always will laugh and be like, oh man, I thought that too. Tell me why you think it's a pyramid scheme. And then when you ask them that, they don't know. They don't even know what a pyramid scheme is. They just heard it. So, right, when you ask them that, they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't actually know why I think it's a pyramid scheme, right? Because pyramid schemes don't have any product. They're illegal. It's big Ponzi schemes like Enron, right? That was a pyramid scheme. Everyone gave money to the dude at the top, thinking they would get money back. So we're a product-based company. We are online shopping. We are no different than Avon or Tupperware. Everyone remembers their grandma having Tupperware parties, right? We are just online. So just don't get upset. And I actually use it as a chance to brag on Plexus because we are just phenomenal as a company. I use that objection to brag. I talk about Plexus Charities, our philanthropic 501c3. We give back millions of dollars a year to charity organizations. And every time someone buys a bag of our protein, we provide 14 meals to a hungry family through Feeding America, right? I love using it as a chance to brag on Plexus. So don't be afraid again to ask questions, right? This whole deal on all of this, follow-up, objections, how to talk, it's just having conversations, right? Sometimes too, you will get like, oh no, I tried it before and it doesn't work. So often I will come back and say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry you had that experience and that the products didn't work for you. Because here's what I know. Here's what I believe, right? And you guys have to build this belief yourself. I build it through testimonies, through reading, through doing my own research, through being coachable with my sponsor. But I know our products work 100%. I mean, outside of the clinical trials that say they work, I know they work. I know that if someone says they don't work, it's probably for 3 reasons. They weren't on the right product and didn't have the right support, right? They weren't consistent, or they worked against the products. Oftentimes, someone will tell you they didn't work because they had unrealistic expectations for weight loss, right? They were on Slim and Accelerator back in the day and they wanted to lose 50 pounds and they didn't, right? So if they tell me they've tried them before and they didn't like it or it didn't work, I don't say, oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened to you, man, and then just quit the conversation. No way. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry you had that experience, but our products are incredible. Could you tell me what you were on or why you think it didn't work? Right? And it's not because I'm trying to convince them that they work. I really want to know, because I can't talk about why they may not work if I don't know what they were on or why they think that. So again, asking questions, right? Just like if you recommended something, or let's say your kiddo has this super awesome toy. We love the Osmo in our house, right? We love the Osmo. I get my girlfriend to buy the Osmo. I recommend it all the time. If she comes to me and was like, that Osmo sucked, like it wouldn't do anything. We couldn't get it to do the letters. We couldn't draw those cool pictures like you did. I'd be like, well, wait a minute. What were you doing? How'd you do it? Like, tell me about it, right? Tell me what you did, because I know that Osmo is awesome and we love it and it works. Tell me what you did. It's the same with Plexus, right? I'm not convincing her that her Osmo, right? Or whatever. I just want to know, like, wait a minute, something isn't right here because I know it works. Tell me about it, right? So just don't let that be the end to the conversation. And listen, guys, again, sometimes your objection is going to be a flat out no, okay? You are going to have some green, rotten apples. There are going to be some people that really need Plexus because they're just, we call them rotten apples. They're skeptic, they're mean about it, they're rude, and they're not even nice when they tell you no thanks, right? Guys, these are not the people we keep following up with, okay? We're not trying to convince the hardcore, never gonna change his mind keyboard warrior skeptic, right? So those are the ones, sometimes you just have to bless and release people. I have had people in my journey that were so skeptical and rude. One like brought me to tears, and I almost blocked her on Facebook, but I'm so glad I didn't, because years later she reached out to me because she needed our products to help her husband's health issues. But sometimes those are the ones we don't even give them our energy, right? And you'll be able to tell who those people are. So I am going to jump off here. That is all I have when it comes to talking about Plexus, follow-up, and overcoming objections. I hope you guys got something out of it. I'm going to stop share, see if you guys have any questions. Let me check the chat. Oh, there are some questions. So did you guys answer them? I'm scrolling back. Yes. Yeah, you're right. 9 times out of 10, they were on the wrong products and they weren't consistent. So I want to thank you guys. So on those sales stats, it's follow-up specifically. Well, it's not specifically on the sale. It's just a follow-up. They don't specify whether or not it's the sale or just the relationship. It's just a touch point, right? So whatever that touch point is, it's almost like too, when you think about, I was thinking about commercials back in the day. So here's something we did that was pretty funny. I told you my daughter's loving Alf. Well, Alf is on IMDb TV, and they have commercials in between the segments. And so my husband and I were like, oh man, back in the day, Adelaide, every show had commercials. This was when you would go do your chores. Well, we had just done laundry, and she had to put her laundry away. So we told her, we said, okay, it's commercial time, go put your laundry away. And then Steve and I would yell, it's back on. Remember, like way back in the day. So I don't even remember where I was going with that. See, I lost it. Yes, Jessica, the recording will be on YouTube. I will upload it to YouTube. I don't know, I was going with that story with Adelaide. Oh, no, commercials. So kids nowadays don't know about commercials, but think about it. You see something on TV, you're not going to just run right out and buy it as soon as the commercial ends, right? No, but you keep seeing it a few times, then your friends are talking about it, then you see the commercial again, then you're more likely to go get it. Same concept with like follow-up. It's just those touch points where people need to keep seeing it. And if you just have that mindset, guys, that we are here to help people and offer them hope, and then give them the tools and the resources and the information they need to make a decision, right? Then your business is going to flourish. You're not going to feel icky and salesy. I mean, sometimes you're going to feel nervous because you're doing things that are outside your comfort zone. Network marketing is outside 99% of our comfort zone, right? I do things in network marketing that I've never done before. It makes me nervous, right? It's growth. It's what do they say? Great things happen outside your comfort zone. But if you always lead with that mindset that we're helping people and you're offering options and hope, whether it be the products or the business, then you are going to feel confident and you're going to be able to work your business with integrity and compassion, and you are just going to fall in love with the process. So thanks for hanging out with me tonight, guys. I will upload the recording as soon as it processes on YouTube. Bye, guys.